So picture this, right? There's this guy, he's been serving his country for 30 years, 3 decades of his life. And for most of that time, he's been fighting alongside soldiers from Denmark, from Norway, from Germany. These aren't just colleagues, you know? These are people who saved his life, people whose kids he's watched grow up, people he's buried friends with. They shared foxholes together, they bled together, some of them died together. And now, someone's telling this guy to turn around and point his rifle at those same people, at his brothers, at his sisters in arms. I know it sounds like some Netflix thriller, right? But here's the thing, this isn't fiction. This is the actual scenario that Pentagon commanders are being forced to plan for right now, today, as we speak.
This is a critical
And when a
moment
Danish
for all
member
of
of the
us.
European
We
Parliament
must
stepped up to the
act now
microphone,
to address
you
these
know what the
pressing
first words out of
issues.
her mouth were?
You weak,
Mr.
white
President, get out.
That
Freeze
is
frame.
why I
Record
have
scratch.
chosen
How the heck did we
to
get here? Okay, wait. Let's back up for a second. Because maybe you're thinking, Denmark? Why should I care about Denmark? Well, let me tell you something that might change your mind. September 11th, 2001. The worst day in American history. The towers fell. 3,000 people died. And you know who was standing right there with us the very next day? Denmark. This tiny little country, 6 million people, that's it. They could have stayed home. Nobody would have blamed them. But they didn't stay home. They sent their sons and daughters to Afghanistan to fight alongside ours. And here's the part that gets me. Per capita, Denmark lost more soldiers than we did. More. A country the size of Wisconsin sacrificed more of their kids proportionally than the United States of America did. For us. They did that for us. And that whole NATO thing, Article 5, an attack on one is an attack on all, it's only been triggered once in history. Once. September 12th, 2001. For us. Denmark was right there saying, we got your back. And now? Now Donald Trump is saying he's going to take Greenland one way or another, and Greenland belongs to Denmark. So what do the actual military people think about all this? The ones who'd have to carry out these orders? General Mark Hertling. This guy commanded U.S. Army forces in Europe. He spent like a third of his entire career over there working with allies. He knows these people personally. And he went on MSNBC and he just said it out loud. He said, in 2013 alone, my last year in command, we did 435 multinational exercises. 435. Sometimes with 5 countries, sometimes with 10. We know these people. We know their families. And now you want us to attack them. This is insanity. Insanity. That's the word a 4-star general used. Not concerning, not I have reservations. Insanity. And then they asked him straight up, General, if tomorrow someone ordered you to attack Greenland, would that be an illegal order? And he didn't hesitate. He said, yes. Greenland is legally Danish territory. Denmark is one of our 32 NATO allies. Attacking them would clearly be illegal. And honestly, I wouldn't even need legal advice to know that. A 4-star general on national television saying he would refuse. There's this writer at The Atlantic, Tom Nichols, smart guy, and he made this comparison that I can't get out of my head. It's kind of disturbing, but it perfectly captures what's happening. He said, imagine a doctor. This doctor spent 30 years learning how to save lives. Every single day she goes to work trying to heal people. She took the Hippocratic Oath, first, do no harm. That's her whole identity. That's who she is. Now imagine someone tells that doctor, take those same medicines you've been using to save people, but this time, turn them into poison and give them to your patients. That's exactly what we're asking American soldiers to do right now. For years, they've been trained to protect allies and fight against enemies. Allies good, enemies bad. Simple. And now we're saying, actually, flip it. Those allies you've been protecting, they're the enemy now. Attack them. Tom Nichols put it this way. The president will be ordering them to do something they've been trained never to do. Their minds will rebel against it. Their minds will rebel. That's not just a figure of speech, that's a psychological reality. Now, you might be wondering, is Europe just sitting there taking this? Are they just going to wait around and see what happens? Nope, not even close. January 14th, Germany, Sweden, France, Norway, Netherlands, and Finland announced they're sending troops to Greenland. 6 countries mobilizing because of threats from the United States of America. Let that sink in for a second. Countries we've been allied with for almost 80 years are now preparing to defend themselves against us. Denmark announced they're spending 88 billion kroner on defense. That's like $13.8 billion. For a country of 6 million people, that's massive. And here's the kicker, and this one really got me. The Danish intelligence service just released their annual threat assessment, and for the first time ever in history, they listed the United States as a security threat. America, the country that basically created NATO, the leader of the free world, now on our allies' threat list, right there alongside Russia and China. Danish Prime Minister Frederiksen said it plain, this would be the end of NATO. 77 years of alliance, the thing that won the Cold War, gone. For what? Tom Nichols brought up something else that's been bothering a lot of people, and honestly, it's maybe the scariest part of all this. He said, I'm stunned by the silence. All these generals and admirals, active duty and retired, who know exactly what this would mean for the men and women in uniform, where are they? Why aren't they speaking up? General Hertling had an answer for that. He said, Tom's baiting me. He's good at that. Look, some of us are standing up. Some retired folks have spoken out. But you're never going to see the active duty guys say this publicly. I really hope, they're fighting behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. Just like the first time around. Remember what happened in Trump's first term? General Milley, General Kelly, Secretary Esper, they were all working behind closed doors to stop the crazy stuff. Remember Lafayette Square? Trump wanted to use the military against American protesters. They stopped him. But here's the difference now. Those people aren't there anymore. They got pushed out, replaced. The people around Trump now? They're the ones who say yes, sir, to everything. So when an illegal order comes down, who's going to say no? All right, let's zoom out for a second. Look at the bigger picture here. Venezuela, invaded, without asking Congress. Iran, under constant threat, aircraft carriers moving. Panama Canal, Trump wants it back. Mexico, he's threatened ground operations. Cuba, waiting for it to collapse. And now, NATO allies, threatened with military force. For 75 years, there was this thing called the rules-based international order. Basically, a set of rules that said countries can't just invade each other whenever they feel like it. America wrote those rules. America enforced those rules. When other countries broke them, we were the ones who stepped in. And now America is the country breaking the rules. And look, here's why this matters to you personally, even if you don't care about foreign policy. If a president can bypass Congress to start a war, if he can ignore court orders, if he can threaten to attack allies, what's protecting your rights tomorrow? The Democracy Index dropped 28% this year. 28%! Harvard professor Stephen Levitsky, the guy who literally wrote the book on how democracies die, he said, we are no longer living in a liberal democracy. Not we might not be. We are not. Present tense. All right, let's zoom out for a second. Look at the bigger picture here. Venezuela, invaded, without asking Congress. Iran, under constant threat, aircraft carriers moving. Panama Canal, Trump wants it back. Mexico, he's threatened ground operations. Cuba, waiting for it to collapse. And now, NATO allies, threatened with military force. For 75 years, there was this thing called the rules-based international order, basically a set of rules that said countries can't just invade each other whenever they feel like it. America wrote those rules. America enforced those rules. When other countries broke them, we were the ones who stepped in. And now? Now, America is the country breaking the rules. And look, here's why this matters to you personally, even if you don't care about foreign policy. If a president can bypass Congress to start a war, if he can ignore court orders, if he can threaten to attack allies, what's protecting your rights tomorrow? The Democracy Index dropped 28% this year. 28%. Harvard professor Stephen Levitsky, the guy who literally wrote the book on how democracies die, he said, "We are no longer living in a liberal democracy." Not we might not be, we are not. Present tense.